safe now.
This is life and death on another level.
Years later, these films still feel uncomfortable to watch. And that's the point. Here are 10 forgotten horror movies that hold up disturbingly well, even after being left behind. Number 10, The Midnight Meat Train.
Subway, he butchers them like cattle. They never find the remains because he unloads the meat somewhere.
Is to go for the ride.
Leon, a struggling photographer hungry for recognition, roams the city after dark in search of raw, unfiltered truth. But when his lens captures a silent butcher boarding the last train of the night, his curiosity spirals into obsession. As more commuters vanish without a trace, Leon dives deeper into the subway's steel veins, following blood-slick clues into a darkness that doesn't end at the tunnel's edge. What he finds isn't just murder. It's a secret carved into the underbelly of the city itself. Directed by Ryuhei Kitamura and based on Clive Barker's short story, The Midnight Meat Train is a brutal, nightmarish descent into urban horror. With unflinching violence and suffocating atmosphere, it transforms a routine train ride into a one-way ticket to something ancient, cold, and hungry. Number 9, As Above, So Below. Scarlet, a fearless scholar of the occult, ventures beneath Paris in search of the mythical philosopher's stone, dragging a small crew of explorers into the city's infamous catacombs. At first, it's an adventure through cramped corridors and ancient carvings. But as they descend deeper, familiar paths vanish, and buried secrets claw their way to the surface. Their journey becomes a maze of the mind and soul, where personal sins manifest and the walls seem to breathe with something ancient and watching. Directed by John Eric Dowdle, the film blends found footage intensity with alchemical legend, dragging its characters through an ever-tightening spiral of psychological and supernatural torment. Number 8, Daybreakers.
I can change you back.
What's the cure?
Run.
In a dystopian near future where a plague has turned most of humanity into vampires, the few remaining humans are hunted for blood as dwindling supplies threaten societal collapse. Hematologist Edward Dalton works for a powerful blood harvesting corporation, racing to develop a synthetic alternative before desperation drives the undead to extinction, or worse, back into the shadows with violent hunger unchecked. When Edward discovers a hidden reservoir of untainted human blood and learns of a resistance fighting to restore normalcy, the lines between savior and monster begin to blur. Directed by the Spierig brothers, Daybreakers fuses sci-fi and horror with a bleak, stylish edge, turning urban nightlife into a battlefield for survival. Number 7, Oculus. Years after their family was torn apart by a violent event tied to an antique mirror, siblings Kaylee and Tim reunite with one goal: prove the object itself is responsible for the horror that stalked their childhood. To document the mirror's power, they set up cameras throughout the old family house and begin a locked-in confrontation with reflections that twist truth and memory. But as the footage rolls and the glass seems to watch back, moments merge, reality distorts, and every reflection becomes a threat. Directed by Mike Flanagan, Oculus weaves a creeping psychological terror that infects the mind rather than just the eye. Number 6, Slither.
Oh my God, stop doing that shit! It hurts, bitch!
In the quiet town of Wheelsey, a mysterious meteorite brings more than just a celestial rock. Its alien parasite infects local man Grant, turning him into a grotesque host for slithering, nightmarish creatures that erupt from his body and spread like a creeping contagion. As the small population begins transforming into ravenous, slimy abominations with an appetite for flesh, Grant's determined wife, Star Officer Starla, and a motley crew of townspeople mount a desperate fight for survival. Directed by James Gunn, Slither melds campy humor with gooey body horror, ratcheting up tension with each twist of tentacle and burst of alien slime. Number 5, The Faculty.
This is the test. This time, they're right.
When a handful of misfit high school students start noticing odd behavior among their teachers at Harrington High, what begins as whispered suspicion soon grows into full-blown alarm. Strange absences, vacant expressions, and unexplainable symptoms ripple through the faculty, and the students quickly realize something far from ordinary has taken hold. Banding together in detention, they uncover an alien parasite spreading quietly from classroom to classroom, warping minds and erasing identities with chilling precision. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, the faculty blends teen angst with sci-fi horror, turning locker halls and biology labs into battlegrounds where trust is a liability and every adult could be the enemy. With razor-sharp pacing and a cast of unforgettable characters, it captures the rush of youthful rebellion against a threat that's not just supernatural. Number 4, 30 Days of Night. In the isolated Alaskan town of Barrow, residents prepare for their annual month of unbroken darkness, only to find that the long night brings something far more terrifying than cold. As the sun sets and the long night begins, a vicious pack of nocturnal predators descends upon the town with brutal precision, turning the extended darkness into a hunting ground where refuge is fleeting and every shadow conceals a hungry threat. Sheriff Eben Olson and a handful of survivors must rally the town against this relentless force before the sun rises again, or before the night consumes them entirely. Directed by David Slade, 30 Days of Night transforms the Arctic winter into a crucible of fear, where the absence of daylight becomes a gateway for terror that refuses to rest. Number 3, Hard Candy.
Hurt anyone? It's just so easy to blame a kid. Who are you?
When shy teenage photography enthusiast Haley meets earnest amateur photographer Jeff online, she seems like the perfect subject for his next shoot. A quiet, uncomplicated portrait session at his house. But what begins as an innocuous meetup takes a calculated turn when Haley reveals she's not just there for photos and quickly shifts the balance of power, forcing Jeff into an unsettling game of psychological reckoning. As the night advances, trust dissolves under intense interrogation and eerie calm, pushing both into a tense standoff where motives and truths unravel like fraying thread. Directed by David Slade, Hard Candy is a sharp, lean psychological horror thriller that wrings fear out of control and consequence rather than supernatural shocks. With razor-edge precision and simmering intensity, it keeps you locked in a room where every glance and question feels like a trap sprung. Number 2, Noroi. Masafumi Kobayashi is a seasoned paranormal documentarian assembling a haunting project that begins to knit a series of bizarre events into something far more ominous than casual hauntings. What starts as interviews about crying babies, strange noises, and unexplained disappearances soon leads Kobayashi through a maze of psychic phenomena, eerie broadcast shows, and unsettling encounters that refuse to stay isolated. As the camera follows his investigation, threads begin converging toward an ancient Japanese legend tied to a malevolent entity that seems to leave chaos in its wake. Noroi adopts a pseudo-documentary found footage style that pulls viewers into its meticulously layered mystery, blurring the line between research and creeping supernatural influence. Number 1, Bedevilled. Young corporate worker Hae Young escapes her suffocating city life for a remote island where her childhood friend Boknyo lives, a woman whose fearless spirit masks deep scars from years of isolation and hardship. What begins as a hopeful reunion quickly darkens as Hae Young witnesses the brutal ways Boknyo is mistreated by the island's men, exploited, humiliated, and pushed past endurance. With the lush landscape as stark witness, the simmering tension between modern restraint and rural cruelty ignites into something explosive, dragging both women into a reckoning that tests the boundaries between victim and force of retribution. The film has relentless pacing and raw emotional power. It transforms one woman's breaking point into a harrowing journey through vengeance and fractured humanity. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Night House.
There's nothing.
There is nothing.
A grieving widow begins to uncover disturbing secrets about her recently deceased husband's past. Alone in a lakeside house he built for her, she's plagued by unsettling visions and eerie sounds. As she investigates, strange architectural clues lead her into a deeper mystery. The film slowly unravels the boundary between reality and something far darker. Jeepers Creepers.
You think he's dead?
They never are.
Two siblings driving through the countryside stumble upon a sinister figure disposing of something in a remote pipe. Their curiosity leads them into a terrifying encounter with a relentless entity. As they seek help, they discover their pursuer is unlike anything they could have imagined. The story twists through isolation, folklore, and a growing sense of dread. Frailty.
You are hiding something from me.
What is it you think I'm hiding?
When I lay my hands on them, I'll reveal them for what they truly are.
A man walks into an FBI office claiming to know the identity of a notorious serial killer. He recounts a chilling story involving his childhood, his brother, and their father's belief in a divine mission. As the narrative unfolds, the line between belief and madness becomes increasingly blurred. It's a quiet, psychological tale built on faith, fear, and family bonds. Saint Maud.
And I feel fuller of your love than ever before. This is life and death on another level.
Maud, a reclusive hospice nurse, becomes obsessed with saving the soul of her new patient. Her devout beliefs grow more intense as she feels a divine calling. But the world around her doesn't seem to share her convictions. The film dives deep into isolation, faith, and the terrifying silence between devotion and delusion.